India calls itself such an agrarian economy, yet the average Indian farmer earns less than a daily wage laborer in most cities. Something is deeply broken. Today, I want to talk about agriculture districts not in abstract policy terms, but in real, lived terms of farmers who owns less than 1 hectare of land, grows wheat or rice, and has no saving buffer when the crop fails. Let us be honest, what actually is going wrong? The average farm holding in India is less than 1.1 hectares, shrinking every generation as land is divided among heirs. One such a small plot, even a perfect harvest barely covers input costs. There is no room for it all. Seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, diesel for pumps. The cost of cultivation has risen sharply over the last 2 decades, but the price the farmer receives at the mandi has not kept pace. The farmer is a price taker on both ends. He pays market rate for the inputs and accepts whatever the buyer offers for his produce. Formal bank credit rarely reaches small and marginal farmers in time or in sufficient quantity. So they borrow from the local money lenders at a 26% annual interest. A single crop failure means interest alone consumes the next season's income. This is how debt becomes generational. No, India wastes nearly 15 to 20% of its food production due to poor storage and transport. A farmer who has grown a good crop of onions or tomatoes often watches its rot because there is no cold storage within reach or no buyer willing to pay a fair price on that day. Over 50% of the Indian agriculture still is rain-fed. There is no irrigation backup. When the monsoon is late or erratic, the farmer has no fallback. Crop insurance exists on the paper, but the claim settlement is slow, disputed, and often inadequate. These problems are structural. They require a structural response. Here is what is realistic and achievable for 5 to 10 years. First, decentralized credit. The government must direct public sector banks to set up a simple single window loan facilities at block level, not just taluka headquarters. A small farmer should be able to get a crop loan of 50,000 in under 2 weeks without needing an agent or a bribe. The Kisan Credit Card is a step in this direction, but implementation remains uneven. That fix the last meal. Second, invest in village level storage. Every cluster of 5 to 10 villages should have access to basic government backed storage facilities, at least a simple, well constructed godown. This alone can prevent distress sales immediately after harvest, which is when prices are its lowest. A farmer who can wait 2 months to sell will almost always get a better price. Third, make crop insurance functional, not just a formal. Use satellite imaging and weather data. The technology already exists to assess crop loss automatically and settle claims within 30 days of the declared damage. Stop making the farmer prove his own loss to an insurance company that profits from the denial. Fourth, strengthen farmer producer organizations meaningfully. FPOs are allow small farmers to pool produce and negotiate collectively, but correctly, most farmer produce organizations lack capital, cold chain access, and direct market linkage. The government should provide the farmer producer organizations with working capital grants and connect them with government procurement system, supermarket chains, and export cluster, not as a favor, as a policy mandate. Fifth, reform as APMC mandi system at the ground level. Farmers should be able to sell at any buyer, anywhere, or transparent price. Digital prices, mobile-based market information, and multiple competing buyers at the mandi. These are achievable in 3 to 5 years with genuine administrative will. Now, what can the farmers do with its own constant without large capital investment, without switching to commercial crops, without poultry or animal hearing? First is intercropping with existing land. A farmer growing rice or wheat can intercrop with legumes like moong or arhar in the same season. Legumes fix nitrogen in the soil, reducing fertilizer costs next season and providing additional harvest that can be consumed or sold locally. This requires no additional land and minimal extra investment. Second, join or form a self-help groups. Self-help groups, particularly in states like Tamil Nadu and Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, have allowed small farmers to access collective credit, share equipment like threshers and tillers, and reduce per unit cost significantly. A farmer alone is powerless at the mandi, 10 farmers together are negotiating leverage. Third, shift partially to kitchen garden crops. Even as a 0.2 acres around the house, growing vegetables like spinach, brinjal, and tomato for home consumption reduce the household food expenditure significantly. This is not income, but it frees up income that was otherwise being spent, which amounts to the same thing for family budget. Use the PM Kisan portal. Government schemes actively Many eligible farmers are not registered under PF Kisan, do not know their soil health card status, have never accessed the subsidized micro irrigation schemes that the state government offers. Awareness and registration alone, with the help of village panchayat, can unlock 6,000 annually in input subsidies worth more. Agriculture distress in India is not inevitable. It is the result of the decades of neglect, inadequate credit, broken markets, no storage, and weak insurance. The farmer has been asked to bear all the risk and given almost none of the tools to manage it. The solutions are not glamorous. They are godowns, loan windows, honest insurance, and a fair price at the mandi, achievable, affordable, and long overdue. The question is not whether we can afford to fix this. The question is whether we can afford not to. Thank you.